So the error that we have seen yesterday, as I was mentioning, sometimes we might need to activate the parent and child business nodes and in one go. In our example, we were just keep enhancing things one by one. So initially, first we have activated our header transactional view first, and then we try to add our the child transactional view activation. So that's where somehow the system was not able to do the things in right way for us. So immediately after finishing our session yesterday, I just tried creating two transactional views. So for item and the header, and they were activated without any errors. So if you see this one, it's item, trip planner, and there is no change at all. So these are the annotations what we have mentioned in our header, and also the item one, if you see. So there are no changes at all. So all model category and semantic key, create, update, delete, and write active persistence, everything is same. But the thing I have done is, so I have activated both of them in one go. So here you see the mass activation, right? So this mass activation will help us generating both at the same time. So if you look at this icon, just exactly left side of this transaction processing enabled, we see this business object here. So if I click on this business object, we'll be going to this business object, and we have seen some of the artifacts, generated artifacts, and these constants interface. So this constants interface we will be using sometime, whatever the constants related to our business object, they all will be created as attributes inside here. So if you see the associations and action attributes, alternative keys, determinations, BO key, BO name, everything will be created as a constant. So without needing to create our local constants, if we are going to use them in our any of the determinations or validations or actions, so then we can make use of this constants interface generated by the framework. Okay, so if you see here node attributes, for example, and in this node attributes, if you go inside, it will specify what are the attributes and their values. So if you see in this business object, not this one, yep. And in this one, if you see, it has clear specification of begin of IT items. So this is the transactional CDSU we have created, and whatever the attributes or the entities that we have chosen from the underlying CDSU. So these all attributes are created as constants in the constants interface. If you want to make use of them dynamically, or then we can use them. And if you see here the node business object nodes, so these nodes are the generated GUIDs. They are not going to change until this business object exists in the system. And BO name, this is the root BO name, if you see here. And the field control action and field control determination, each and every one, everything will be generated with a GUID in this case. Okay, so let me go to this overview. And in this overview, if you see the root node, and go to the nodes of this particular business object. And in this case, if we want to go to the root of this one, we will be navigating from here. And so that we will see the root of this one. So in our case, the header or trip planner is the root node, And also, if you see the nodes of this particular business object, it will show all the nodes that are available in this particular business object. So right now we have the tree kind of structure here. Whatever the dependent business object node is being displayed, and they will be in a hierarchical point of view. So if we have any further subnode under th items, again there will be a tree icon enabled here, and there will be another one. And now this is where we navigate to the particular business object nodes. So if you come here, nodes of this one, if we know that if we click on this root node, we will go to the root node. And here also we have options to look at the nodes. So nodes and associations and these additional things here. If you look at these properties, we will see the properties that are selected on the root node that we are on at the moment. So these are all the root node properties. And if we want to see the associations of this one, if you see right now we have underscore items. Okay, and in this underscore items, whatever the cardinality we have specified in our transactional view, so we have the same cardinality listed down in the associations of the business object. Okay, and also the alternative keys. So these alternative keys, we will come to these alternative keys. So this will help us to validate few things automatically. And here again we have the nodes. So these nodes is nothing but coming to the nodes of this business object. How we have this option here, nodes of this business object, it's the same here. And if we want to get into these th items, so please remember that they all independent business objects. If you see here a root node, whatever the options we see for validations, actions, determinations, and everything, authorization, whatever these tabs, so all these tabs are applicable for each of the node available in the generated business objects. So these options are not common for all the I mean the actions whatever we create here, they are not going to be common actions for all the business objects, but there will be actions tab separately for the items. So that's what I mean to say. I think we have seen this when we looking at the presentation as well. So if I go into nodes, and if I press Control and click on this ZTHIT items, then we will be looking at the business object of the IT items. If you see, right now we are not on the root node, we are on the child node, the sub node, and the information is being displayed here is purely about the sub node. This is not about the parent node here. So, and these nodes, associations, and keys, everything is specific to this one. If you go into associations, there will be two root and two parent. From where these two associations are coming, if you look at these items here, so from this business object association type, both of them are being populated. So we have mentioned two composition parent and two composition root. So root and parent, both of them same in this case for this particular business object. Okay, Let me allow, and let me go to the overview. And now again, nodes of this one. So these nodes are display all of the nodes. Again, let me go into here. And if you look at these determinations, or let me go to the properties, and these properties here are not the root root properties. So these properties are specific to the items business object, if you see here. And this read-only, mandatory, all these checkboxes here. So they will be automatically checked if we specify any annotation in our transactional view here. For example, let me make object model dot read only true. Okay, so this read only is going to be populated on the business object as well. So I'm just activating it. Still activating. Yeah, so the object has been activated. And if I come here and if I do a refresh, trip item, if you see here, it has been made as read only right now. Trip item made as read only. So similarly, we have control over the object model annotations, and whatever is relevant, we will straight away go ahead and make them read only or mandatory. So right now, for our example, I think we have made all our object model annotations read only and mandatory on the consumption level. But usually these object model annotations will be included at the transactional layer itself. Okay, and this is about the business object nodes. And let me go to this the parent node of this one, and determinations, and we have included this determination yesterday. And when I changed this transactional views, the determination has lost. So again, I picked the same class and I assigned as a determination here. So if you see triggers configured, if we okay, let me go back to this one, and these triggers, it's just right after modification. So that means this will trigger before going to the validations itself. So if we don't have a trip ID as that is a key field, and the validations will stop us before going for the save. So after validations, then it goes for before save and then save. So that is what it is. And let me go to this one. I think why did I open? Okay, that's fine. So I'll come back to that. So let me refresh my web IDE. Yes, it's running. Someone already started. So let me run the application here. So if you see, I haven't changed my consumption views. They are still staying as it is, but my transactional views have been changed. So earlier it was with the name CO, and right now it is IT. I changed it to IT. And let me execute and see how it goes. And this web IDE, again, it has a few limitations. It seems, I think we're not able to achieve few functionalities. as the version is very old, 1.52, and SAP itself not supporting versions below 1.73, I think. Okay, so right now we see the delete and create buttons available. So delete and create buttons are available right now. And this one we already seen yesterday for the header one. And if I go ahead for creation, and I don't see the item creation here. But that might be missing because we do not have the metadata. Where is that one? Yeah, so the metadata grouping and etc. We don't have those field group and facet information, and also the header information for this one. It might be because of that one. Let us try adding that one as well. But header itself, it should go ahead and create an entry for us in the backend. Let me see that. ENL, let me create this entry with IN and ENL, for example. So let us save this one. And yes, so the entry has been, object has been created. As we have this one here, GB as a filter. Let me remove that one and also remove the status. Go. And I'm not sure what was the latest one. Yeah, INR Netherlands. Yes, this is the one created. And if we go into this one, we see right now the trip items has been enabled at this time. But if you click on this one, there is nothing because we haven't specified anything anything for our object page and header information and etc. So if we add that information, and this object page will come with the grouping that we have mentioned in our CDSU metadata, and let us see that one as well. So apart from that, we have the delete here. If we delete this particular entry from here as well, it goes ahead and removes the entry from the database. So the entry has been deleted, but we see some referencing missing in this case. Usually how we deal with this transactional application creations is with using the GUIDs, but in our case we are not using any of the GUIDs. So if we go with utilization of GUIDs, then the framework will take all the control, and from there everything will work as per the expectations. So whenever we go for GUID usages, then the semantic key will take a major importance. So the semantic key will represent what is the immediate next key apart from GUID. Okay, so here we don't have any specific importance about this semantic key, as we have already have the key as trip ID, but semantic key also we have mentioned trip ID. But whenever we go for GUID utilization, then the real, I would say, the secondary key in that particular one, which will be included as part of the table. So to demonstrate that one as well, I have created a copy of our tables, header and items. So T header is the table, and here is the key that we have with the UUID, so universal unique identifier. So this is going to be generated by the framework automatically, and we will be building all our associations with the child nodes and parent nodes and root nodes, everything using this UUIDs. And in this case, our trip ID is going to be the semantic key, and we can even specify that as an alternate key as well. And T items, I think, yeah, T items. And yes, so here also we have the UUID. In this case, we should be having the relationship between the header and items. So right now we do not have any reference for this one, the relationship reference, but in fact we should be building the relationship by creating the header GUID. Let me take the same name from the header table, T header, and this is the T header UUID is going to be the field, and it's not going to be key field anymore on this particular one, but instead it's going to be the UUID. Type this one, and if I activate, that's perfect, it is activated. And also I have created two CDS views, header and item. In this case, I haven't activated any of them. I just created and saved, and they are like just created status in the system. And also one more thing I wanted to tell you at this point, whenever we go for the UUID usage, then we will be having some advantage of using the draft functionalities. So draft enabled. So we can use this draft enabled functionality as well if we go with UUIDs. Okay, so it makes very simple for us if we go with the UUIDs. So the first example that we have started, we have used that to publish as a OData service and reference as a OData service and etc. So we tried extending that to cover up with the transactional behavior functionalities, whereas we would need to work on some additional things whenever it is just going ahead and creating the entries, and like how we are seeing some runtime errors occurring and etc. So some extra activities needs to be performed when we go with the non-UUID fields as a key fields and relationships. So in this case, let me go ahead and create the association in this case. Association, right now I'm on header. So all these CDSUs are started with N. Okay, N header is going to be our new CDSUs here. So it's going to be 1 to start to the items. I'm going to give this one. So if you see, we will be seeing the errors saying, so this CDSU does not exist and etc. But that's fine, as we have not activated them. As underscore items on dollar projection dot t header UUID equals to underscore items dot here this is also going to be same field. So now let me go ahead and publish this association, and this association is going to be object model dot association dot type. It's going to be the composition child. Okay, let me save this one and let me go into the items one and create association to the header association and 1 to 1 to let me copy this one. And here if you see I don't have any basic CDS views in this case. I'm straight away building on the table here, but whenever we work in real time we should be having basic views, or we can start from here as well. So if that's not that specific, we can start from here as well. So on dollar projection dot okay, I think we don't have the T header UUID here. I just added that one. So UUID equals to header dot T header UUID. That's absolutely fine. And let me come here and expose the association, and also let me write this association dot type equal to, this is going to be parent and also as well as to the root as well. Okay, so now that's fine. So let me now activate both of them together and see if we get succeeded this time.
Chandra?
Yes.
So at the subnode level, we will be giving this annotation below items to parent and yeah, this one.
Yes, this is
subnode.
This is subnode. Yes.
Okay.
So from yeah.
Yeah,
from subnode we are telling this what is its parent.
Okay. Oh, it is the directing to the parent or root node.
Yes, so from here you will be getting both the keys. So in wherever, in this case the root is not definitely make sense, because root and parent both of them are same. But if you have any diversion from items, then to the, let's say accommodations is the diversion from here to the accommodations, and we will be having another association here, like association to accommodation. Okay, so in this case this accommodations is going to be the child for this one, not to the header. And whenever you work on this accommodation, and parent is going to be the items and a root is going to be the header, trip header. Okay, so in that case whenever you work on this T accommodation, then you will have two associations. This header will be treated as root, and another association whatever you create as items, underscore items is going to be the parent for accommodation. Okay, so in this case this doesn't make any sense. So as both of them are same, we are using the both annotations, composition parent and child, on the same exposition, association exposition. Okay, so I see our business object has got activated. Okay, there are some changes on this one again. That's fine. Let's get activate. And if you see this time, we don't see any error on this transaction processing enabled. and this time we have a successful business object generation. That's cool. And this time, whatever the changes we see here, they are little different than we have seen before, because on this one we are working on the draft enabled functionality. Okay, so if you see this draft class, so this draft class has been enabled this time by the framework. So how this happens, we have seen how the draft works. So in our CDSU itself, we have draft persistence and also the write active persistence. Until user saves the data, it will keep on collecting the data and modifying the data into the draft tables. Whenever user clicks on save, then it wipes off the data from draft and it updates, the framework automatically updates the data into the active persistence here. And write draft persistence, again you see some icon here, the draft table has been enabled or generated. So we do not really need to generate this the draft table, and this draft table is not necessary or shouldn't exist when we generate this or activate this CDSU. So I haven't created this T header DR table. I forgot to mention that one. So if you go and look at this table in the database, so these are all the fields collected from the active persistence, and also this include here, if you see, so this include has been added by the framework itself. So whenever we make changes on the UI5 application, it automatically saves the information saves the information and stores into the draft tables, where if we definitely don't want to keep this or publish or save this data, and we will have an option to discard this information on the UI. So on top of this one, again, it's a same thing. We will be building, or we will be wrapping up with consumption CDS views with the metadata, how these needs to be displayed or generated as an app. Let me, I think we already have these copies of consumption views. We can replace this as all the fields are same, but as we have our previous videos based on these CDSUs, I will leave these for our reference video reference. So let me try to create a consumption CDSU for both of them. ZTHCN header, Z, sorry, or it's there will be no specification now, as we are adding both of them together, but let me put it. Go ahead, and that's fine. And again, I'm creating view entity data source. I'm adding my ITN header as my data source, and the in element, I will just copy this from my C T items, but not that one. Let me see trip planner, because we would need all of these annotations and everything. Let me copy this one to this one. So here we have a few changes. The key is not going to be our trip ID here. Instead, we will have the key as our T item, not this one, T UUID, T header UUID, and I do not want to have any alias name for this one, or if you want to put, you can put header UUID if we want. That's absolutely fine. And also I would like to copy my associations where they will be supporting towards the value helps. Okay, and this is the one I need to change, the items, but items consumption view I haven't created yet. So I'll go ahead and I'll remove this created on. So these created on and changed on are not part of the database table itself this time. I have removed those fields on the database itself. Okay. So, okay, we have this on the consumption level, and also let me comment out this items. I'll enable this once we create the consumption view for items. And also we would need the transactional behavior enabled onto this one. So let me go ahead and take all these part. So these all we already did this one, and in the real time as well, we will be doing the same. But here we know already what we need to copy, and we are copying accordingly. So in this case, trip ID is going to be my semantic key, and the transaction process delegated. That's true, as we are on the consumption layer, and here we need to add the draft enabled. We are going to add the draft functionality onto this one. So perfect.
Semantic key should be header UID.
Nope. So that's what I said. So whatever the secondary key we consider, that's going to be the semantic key. So this is a DB key, which we have already in the database as well. Semantic key is something we define other than the DB key. Okay. And let me go into this one. This is my N items, and I would need to create another CDSU for items consumption. CN items. So I'll say new items consumption. Okay, let me go ahead and finish this one, and I'll replace this with my associations. Let me copy my associations here. I think we have only one association, and we are going to add more associations. So in this associations, let me copy this one here, CN header, and yes, as a header, and this is going to be the header UUID and header UUID. And it's going to be that. And let me add the element that we have here. So copy this one and we shouldn't forget to add the key fields from this one. So we have item UUID, and these two are going to be the key fields in this case. So this is not going to be the key field, and as header UUID and as item UUID is going to be the key field. And in this case, let me add the business object annotations here. So these are the business object annotations. Delete enabled and draft enabled is true. And here again, the transaction processing delegated, that's true. And let me comment this one. So how these views behave is, once we build or activate, if you have created the multi-layered CDS views, obviously it will create a lot of mess. So if you want to make any changes on the down layer and all the top layers, let's say you have 4 layers of CDS views, if you want to make any renaming the field name or adding field is fine, but if you want to remove any of the field, or if you want to rename any of the already existing field and etc., then it will be a big headache. You need to first go on to all your top layers, and you need to ensure this field, whatever you are trying to make changes, that is not being used in any of the any of its where used list CDS views, so that you can come to your actual CDS view and you can make changes, and then you can try activating it. Then again, enable this field in all your top layers one by one, not all of them at once. It's going to create again a mess. It's a so be careful whenever you work with multi-layered CDS views, and ensure you create at the very first time with the right meaningful alias names and etc. And also you should be careful whether you are developing CDS views for transactional purpose or reporting purposes. So the reporting purposes will reduce the risk of having all these headaches, but whenever, even including the wrap, if you are building the CDS views for transactional app purposes, then we should build keeping this in mind. Okay, so now I have commented these associations. So what I'm trying to do, so I want in these two CDS views activated independently, because they are not going to generate any business objects for me. These are not the transactional CDS views, they are consumption. So once they are activated, then I'll establish the associations. So let me activate these two CDS views, C in header and N items. Okay. Yes, activated with the warnings. Not sure where this. Yeah, that's fine. This OData anyway. We haven't registered that OData yet. That's absolutely fine. And I see some error there. Element MENDT missing in entity in header draft connected OData exposure. So this, what is this? IT in header.